Okay, folks, it's your buddy Mike Messier. Happy to be here. It's a Monday night. Actually, it's a Tuesday morning now, East Coast time, EDT. And just had a few things to talk about, if you don't mind. If you are looking to listen to someone, or if your ears are open, your mind's open, your hearts perhaps even are open. First off, I hope you had a good Monday. I had a kind of okay Monday, not a great Monday. Although I did have a good meal, like a 4 o'clock meal was excellent. I had some Southern barbecue. But let's talk about this wrestling stuff. Tonight I tried. People have been begging me, imploring me to give WWE another chance, telling me I should be watching this stuff. And I really resist that urge, but so many people were requesting me to watch WWE Raw tonight that I put it on, and it was just really bad, and so I don't want to crucify the show, but if you saw anything that I should take note of, please let me know. But being in the spirit of forgiveness, I've said, when did this WWE stuff really start to get kind of weak? And my feeling is like 2017 is when it really got bad. I mean, I think they've been bad for a while, at least since they went to 3 hours of Raw. Raw has been bad, at least, since they've gone to 3 hours. And that's been about 8 or 9 years. But 2017, I think they really started doing some bad stuff, boring stuff. So tonight, I went back to the old Peacock network, or the Peacock platform, and I checked out Royal Rumble 2016, of all things. I checked out Royal Rumble 2016. And for those of you that may not remember, that was when Roman Reigns was the champion, babyface champion, although getting booed. And he was defending the title in the Royal Rumble match itself, which was a first-time thing. We've got some comments here. Hey, my buddy Eric's checking in. How you doing, Eric? Eric's got some things he's considering pursuing. I hope he does in the near future. So we'll keep you abreast on that, Eric. So any comments or further questions? And Eric he is a big GCW enthusiast. I'm still working my way through that GCW show from 2 or 3 weeks ago, Eric. I'm in this tag team match. I think it's a Lucha tag team match, which is pretty good. It's a little complicated. The way that I have to watch that GCW show, I have to hook up my computer to my TV. It's kind of a process, and then I can't do anything else while I'm doing that. And I don't know how well you guys know me by now, but I need to be multitasking at all times. I can't just be watching, for the most part, something on television. I need to be doing something else with my mind or my fingertips. So it's hard for me to kind of put all my energies into that, buddy. Yeah, of course, buddy. Happy birthday, Eric. That's great. Congratulations. It's your birthday. And a very special day for you because it's your birthday. So what is it? February 8th. I'm trying to think if there's any things in pro wrestling history from February 8th or this day in history. I don't know if you do this, Eric, but I like to look stuff up like this. This day in history, February 8th. We can do that right now. Is it the 7th or the 8th, buddy? Which one was it? Because I remember you telling me it was your birthday coming up. Is it the 7th or the 8th? Let's see, buddy. What happened on this day on February 8th? Well, we'll get back to that in a moment. All the birthday shenanigans. Pamela Dubin's checking in. Pamela Dubin, perhaps. A good friend of mine, of actor. Actress, I should say. Is it okay to say actress these days, Pam? Or is that not good anymore? Because I always like the word actress, but some people get all uptight. I'm an actor, okay? But in any event, Pam's a good friend of mine. Good to see her here, Eric. Double digits are good luck. Well, so this is a WrestleRant, Pam. I know you're not the biggest wrestling fan, but maybe you are. Who knows? Maybe you have a secret fetish for pro wrestling. Because what I'm going to talk about right now is this 2016 Royal Rumble. Yes, that was 6 years ago, but just kind of a funny show, folks, because first off, they have a Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair women's title match, which is, in the show. And it's interesting because this is before Becky Lynch even turned heel for the first time. So this is January of 2016. I think Becky's actual heel turn was at SummerSlam 2016. What was very interesting about this, first of all, you can tell that Becky was not quite ready to be the champion, or not quite ready for prime time. She is, if you watch this Royal Rumble match 2016, you can see Becky Lynch predicting or telegraphing a lot of her sells. Really, one of the first times I've ever noticed this in a wrestling match. Like, Becky is actually selling like the chop from Charlotte Flair before Charlotte even delivers the chop. Like, Becky kind of takes the chop, but Charlotte hasn't even thrown the chop yet. There's a couple of times in that match where it's like Becky's a step ahead of what Charlotte's doing. So I can see why, although the fans were really into Becky, they were chanting for Becky, and Becky looks great in this match. Physically, she looks great. And she's got an outfit on that's pretty awesome too, this kind of the steampunk thing. But Becky it just seemed like she was trying too hard. And she was just, like I said, she was selling the moves before the moves happened. And, you know, it takes two to tango and all that. But it did look like Charlotte wasn't having any issues, except that Becky was just screwing up a lot. There was another thing in that match that was disconcerting. At some point, about halfway through the match, Becky is playing with her boots. And she's playing around with her boots a lot. And she's got like these leg warmers on. And I'm sure Pam remembers the Flash dance, you know, Jennifer Beals, gorgeous woman she is, but had those leg warmers on in that movie. But Becky's wearing these kind of, you know, showmanship, showgirl, like she's on the Vegas Strip, these things on her boots. And it's like, she doesn't need them. And about halfway through the match, it looks like she's trying to pull them off one of her boots because she's getting frustrated. And Cole even makes a comment that Becky's been struggling the whole time with her ring attire. So kind of a wardrobe malfunction in a non-sexy way. Just poor ladies having trouble with their boots. So that was that. Then here's a big thing. Now, I guess this story, because I looked it up, this story is not new. But basically, they edited part of the match. Now, I don't know if you guys knew this, but if you Google it or look it up somehow, you can see, hey, Jimmy, what's going on, buddy? Discussing the Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch Royal Rumble 2016 match. If you look at this match, you can see all these flaws. We'll just cut myself off there. But basically, Becky, it's just a weird match. They edited out the Ric Flair kisses Becky Lynch in the middle of the match. That's what I was trying to say. In the middle of the match, they're out on the outside of the floor. And Ric Flair, in a way to distract Becky, gives her a kiss on the lips. Now, I was wondering, because it's clear that that's what happened, because they even commentate on it. And then they edited out the actual kiss. So I'm thinking this is like a Peacock network, a Peacock platform editing choice. For those that don't know, the WWE is now on Peacock, the NBC streaming service. But I looked it up, and it's basically, this has been going on since the WWE network days. So the WWE at one point early on in this thing decided to edit out Ric Flair's kiss on Becky Lynch. Now, of all the things that they could have edited out, a good friend of mine pointed out years ago that they have that WWE Camp Adult WWE cartoon, the adult cartoon, where they tell a lot of these crazy Ric Flair stories. Yep, that's right, buddy. They edited out the kiss. Pam's got a good question. Why would they cut it? At least it's interesting. Wrestling is at least a sport, unlike boxing. The object of that game is to knock someone unconscious, not very sportsmanlike. Hey, that's a great take, Pam. Thank you. Well, okay, I'm gonna give you the answer, Pam. The reason why that they probably edited out the kiss at that time was probably because of the Me Too movement. Believe it or not, it was such a topic, such a hot button issue around 2016, the Weinstein stuff, as you know, deplorable Weinstein activities. And that had such a carryover into all our aspects of life that a man, basically like a 65-year-old man, Ric Flair, 70 years old, something like that, grabbing a 27, 28-year-old female wrestler who's wrestling his own daughter and kissing her by force on the lips was something that the WWE didn't, they had it done initially, but then they wanted it stricken from the record, so to speak. That's one reason. Now, in the years since, this is going back to 2016, the match, 2021, just the summer of 2021, there was a show called Dark Side of the Ring that had an episode about the plane ride from hell, which was a real situation in pro wrestling where the wrestlers were on a plane ride coming back from an overseas trip, and a lot of the wrestlers either got drunk or were poisoned from drugs from another wrestler, and basically there was accusations of sexual harassment or harassment levied onto Ric Flair from a stewardess on that flight. Now, later on, it was revealed that the stewardess who made these allegations against Ric Flair, and she did receive an out-of-court settlement at the time, along with the other stewardesses, she actually apparently has a legal history of theft. So her kind of, her character was brought into question by some people by that. But in any event, the point is they didn't want the forced kiss from Ric Flair onto Becky Lynch to be part of their WWE programming. And they've done this before, Pam, and other wrestling fans like Eric and Jimmy from Down Under will tell you, Jimmy Thunder from Down Under, that is, that they've edited out things that were viewed as being racist. Roddy Piper painting himself half black at WrestleMania 6 comes to mind. But there's so many things in pro wrestling that are outrageous and outlandish and over the top. And the whole idea of pro wrestling, in my mind, is this over the top passion play. And it's supposed to be insane. It's supposed to be nuts. So why stop with Ric Flair kissing Becky Lynch? Why not edit out Roddy Piper smashing Jimmy Snuka with a coconut? Or how about all these chair shots that guys have taken to the head for the last 20 years? I understand you in hindsight now. Do you agree Flair brought his heat on himself? Got a bunch of comments I'm going to catch up to. The wrestling fans watch because it's entertaining and because you kind of get hooked on it. It's kind of like the people that read comic books and they go to all the comic book movies. You just get hooked as a kid and it sticks with you. I would probably agree that Rick brought his heat upon himself. Now, here's the other thing, Eric, and this is going to sound like I'm making an excuse for Ric Flair, and maybe I am. But the thing is, things were different in different generations. In the 60s, the 70s especially, sex was a big thing. I mean, it was just more common. There was less deadly fucking venereal diseases. People just fucked more. And Ric Flair was a product of that generation. And, he was living his nature boyish life. And you had things on television like Three's Company. You had Suzanne Summers. You had Farrah Fawcett on Charlie's Angels. It was just a different time. I'm not making an excuse. I'm just trying to paint a picture that things were different back then. And Ric Flair, who kind of saw himself as the Richard Gere of pro wrestling, lived that lifestyle. You know what I mean? So it's just, but the thing is, with generational gaps, it's a hard thing to apply the moralities of one generation onto the activities of another generation. I mean, that's why we go through this whole thing with how we talk about the Civil War and how do we view our presidents? The first 18 or 20 presidents in the United States were slave owners. So how do we view these guys? Jimmy from Down Under, this is American history I'm talking about. And rats, Pamela, in case you're wondering, is a term for the female groupies like they called them Band-Aids in the rock and roll days, and they called them rats in pro wrestling. So it is what it is. But when you try to apply the morality and the things that we do now, or the things that we think now, to activities that took place even 10 years ago. I mean, I just watched this whole web series, guys and ladies. There's something about Miriam. I think it was a UK reality show about a transgender woman who was like the Bachelor or the Bachelorette on this dating show. And she had like, an island full of guys vying for her attention. And what they didn't realize the whole time is that Miriam had a penis. Miriam was born a man and lived her life as a woman, and was very attractive by cosmetic standards, was a model. She didn't look like a man. She looked like a woman. And so the whole gimmick of this reality show, you can find it on YouTube. I watched the whole thing. It's only about 5 parts. It's about 5 hours of material, maybe 4. Is, would these guys freak out knowing that they were all trying to woo a transgender woman? And, I'll let you watch the show. But that show was on the air, I think, in 2004, 2005. And would that show get booked now? Would that show get greenlit now? It probably wouldn't, because today's standard, that would be seen as very offensive, very insensitive, exploiting people. You know what I mean? Exploiting Miriam, exploiting the guys. There was a lawsuit from that show. The guys sued the show. Unfortunately, Miriam, spoiler alert, years later, Miriam died at a young age. It was said to be suicide, but other people think she didn't commit suicide. And she was apparently married to a man when she died. So the point is, things change. And that was just, 15 years ago or so. And so you try to apply our standards of behavior to Ric Flair for what he was doing in 1984 on an airplane ride or whatever. It's just hard to do that. Or but that's what people try to do. There's an interesting YouTube video that I haven't watched yet, but I will watch it eventually. How do we think about the Cosby Show? I mean, now that we know all this stuff about Bill Cosby, does it matter to you? Do you choose to watch the Cosby Show or not? I mean, if you are going to not watch Harvey Weinstein movies, for instance, and Pam will know this, just because she's well versed in filmmaking and acting. If you don't watch any Harvey Weinstein movies, you're going to be missing out on the best movies for about 15 years, for most of the 90s into the mid 2000s, at least. And so a lot of the great movies, Salma Hayek's movie, Frida, was made under duress. She had Harvey Weinstein breathing down her throat the whole time. She was trying to make this movie. But it came out to be a great movie. So do we not watch the movie out of spite for Weinstein? I mean, what do? Can you separate the art from the artist? And so on and so forth. So we went on this whole big, long tangent, all based on the fact that they edited out Ric Flair kissing Becky Lynch from the WWE Royal Rumble 2016. Other things I wanted to say. That's good, buddy. Good to keep an open mind. Other things about this Royal Rumble. I hear you, buddy. Yeah. When this Royal Rumble, the actual match, well, first of all, they had a Dean Ambrose, which was interesting to see Dean Ambrose with the old motorcycle revving sound effect for his theme song. They had a Dean Ambrose, Kevin Owens last man standing match that was pretty good. No blood in that, but it was still a pretty good match. The actual Royal Rumble, here's the thing I forgot. The Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair title match at Royal Rumble 2016. Guess who the ring announcer was? Guess who the ring announcer was for Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair 2016 Royal Rumble? It was Brandy Rhodes. Brandy Rhodes was the ring announcer. She would be the first Rhodes of 3 that we saw that night. We saw Goldust and we saw Stardust. So Cody Rhodes was in there, which was kind of fun. And so what else did we have in this thing? As far as surprises and stuff, it was more like, I don't think there really was a whole lot of surprises in that Royal Rumble. There was no like Diesel cameo or Booker T or anything. But the big surprise was that Triple H comes out and wins the thing. And but he didn't eliminate Roman Reigns last. It actually comes down to Triple H and Dean Ambrose. And it just kind of goes to show that Dean Ambrose was really a top guy. Well, Pamela. See, I don't know if Pamela's. See, Pam, I didn't think of you as a pro wrestling fan, Pam, but I could be wrong. I mean, I don't know if you're just playing with me or not because I mentioned Brandy Rhodes, but it was Brandy Rhodes. And Pam, if you are a pro wrestling fan, you can always come up to Jacksonville, Florida, and see AEW. March 4th, I think, is the next show I'll be at, a Wednesday night. And so, yeah. So what else happened in this Royal Rumble? The Wyatt family attacked Brock Lesnar, which was pretty interesting because that's like a thing that never had a payoff. I remember on Raw at the time, they were doing a lot of Wyatt family, you know what I mean? A lot of Wyatt family, Brock Lesnar stuff. Yeah, Hall and Nash are cool guys. They're nice guys. I've worked with Kevin Nash in the movie The Manor, which I co-wrote. Kevin Nash and I have a scene together. He plays a character that I basically created. I appreciate that, Pam. Appreciate that. Hey, Michael AJ, good to see you here, buddy. We're just talking about Royal Rumble 2016. I was saying that it comes down to Triple H actually eliminating Dean Ambrose for the victory. But then you had like Bray Wyatt was doing pretty well. The Wyatt family eliminated Brock Lesnar, which I can't remember them having a payoff for that. Like they should have done something. I think at that year's WrestleMania, they were promoting Fastlane. Remember Fastlane? They had a Dean Ambrose challenging Triple H title match at Fastlane. Hall and Nash have appeared in some way for GCW Odd Fact. That is an odd fact, buddy. I'll have to check into that. AJ had a good video he showed me tonight. I wish I could upload that here, buddy. A funny video AJ sent me. And AJ was wondering a couple of days ago what I made of this McDonald's stuff, this the menu hack menu items, which is like, was it a chicken McNugget, filet of fish, and hamburger all on the same sandwich? I don't know, man. It doesn't seem very healthy to eat those three things together in one concoction into your system. Doesn't seem like the healthiest thing in the world to do. I think it's a true thing that your stomach has enough trouble like digesting one type of meat. And if you're mixing your meats in the same meal, it's going to cause your stomach a lot of chaos. Just a heads up for people if you have any stomach issues. Look at your diet, and are you eating several types of different meats in one sitting? That might be adding to your problems. AJ's got a good point here. Mikey, RK Bro is a great team. Rumors of them breaking up, that would be a stupid idea. Crowd is over with them. We don't have many in WWE. Quality team, New Days and Usos. Yeah, I agree, buddy. And, I did start to watch, like I said, I try to give Raw a shot tonight. I started to watch that trivia contest. I want to say that this young guy, Chad Gable's his name, right? He's good. I mean, he's really good. And I think it's smart that they have him with a muscle guy. I do wish they had left Otis as a baby face. And if Chad had a different muscle guy as his lackey or his henchman, I think that would have been better. But I think Otis is doing great in that. I just think Otis had more to give as a babyface because he was kind of over with that whole Mandy Rose thing. Yeah, rather watch ants breed. I hear you, buddy. It is boring. You're right. So what else can I say? They did the trivia thing. It was mildly entertaining, but the part of it that was mildly entertaining was really Chad Gable's a heel, and RKO Bro they're pretty funny, AJ. So I give you that. And I think it's smart. One thing I'll give the WWE credit for, they haven't pushed, Randy turning on Riddle yet. I could see them pulling the trigger for that at WrestleMania. But in a way, if they don't pull the trigger on it, and even if these guys split up and go individual again, having them as like kind of a modern day rock and sock combo might be a nice thing to do. I remember in college, there used to be some guy that used to watch wrestling 2 inches away from the TV, and he just laughed at the whole time. And I didn't understand it was all fake until when they explained it to me. Well, yeah. And here's the thing, Pam, and I'll smarten you up a little bit, which is what we say in the wrestling world. Because I know you are a smart person, but in the wrestling world, smarten you up just means to educate you about the wrestling. The wrestlers and the wrestling fans don't like the F word, the fake word. Although in recent years they've been more liberal with it. The fake word or the F word is kind of an insult to pro wrestling fans and to pro wrestlers. But if you look at Dr. D. David Schultz with actually it was John Stossel back in 1985, you can see what happens when the reporter calls wrestling fake. What I like to determine it, I kind of like just the term predetermined, because if you watch a pro wrestling match, especially more so in the mid to late 90s, if a guy hits a guy in the head with a steel chair, he's usually hitting the guy in the head with a steel chair. If a guy takes a body slam, he's taking a body slam. Now, granted, some things like a figure 4 leg lock, it's quite painful if you actually put pressure on that move. Choreographed is a better word. Yeah, choreographed, predetermined. Choreographed is good. Performance art. We've heard that before. Yeah, but here's the thing. I like to really just think of pro wrestling as its own thing. I don't think we need to call it. I hate when people call wrestlers actors, because I'm an actor and I'm not a wrestler. I did wrestle a few matches, but I don't consider myself to be a full-time wrestler, but I would consider myself to be an actor. And they're two different disciplines. I mean, that's like saying an opera singer is the same as a mime. You know what I mean? It's two different performance things. Or a kabuki theater actor is the same as a ventriloquist. I mean, to me, wrestlers are not actors, they're wrestlers. And even when people say wrestlers are athletes or they're combat fighters, it really just call them pro wrestlers. Pro wrestlers are pro wrestlers. Let's see, buddy. Ring of Honor invades Impact is stupid. Neither one is a threat to the other, except which promotion sucks worse right now, talents and writers. I agree with that too, buddy. Impact Wrestling has lost my interest. They did that several times, but most especially when they employed Joey Ryan and they called Tessa Blanchard their heavyweight champion. They had, for Pam doesn't know, this group called Impact Wrestling had a 105-pound woman beating 300-pound men cleanly, really just throwing any type of logic out the window. I'm not a big fan of intergender matches, except when they're booked very well, and I don't think those were. What's my take on Danhausen? He grew on me after seeing him in character annoying Billy Gunn's son and him saying good. Okay, let me take a swig of this tea first. I'll address Danhausen. It's too early for me to tell how I really feel about him. But I basically, as of now, I feel if he sticks with the comedy section of the show, if he sticks with Orange Cassidy, if he sticks with Adam Cole, if he sticks with that type of guys, like that tier of guys, I'm okay with Danhausen. I haven't seen a whole lot of them, to be honest with you. The very nice, very evil thing is interesting. Tessa Blanchard had a match with Nick Gage. I believe you. I'd be curious to see how that went. Nick Gage is this blood and guts wrestler, and Tessa Blanchard is the female wrestler. So very interesting. So Danhausen, I give him an incomplete from the Mike scale. Eric, it's nothing against Danhausen. I just don't know what to say yet. But I mean, I'm sure we're going to see more of him. You're peaked by Danhausen now, especially after Facebook fans dismissing him. Yeah, I hear you, buddy. I mean, and I think that's, like part of being a pro wrestling fan is that you want to go against the grain. I mean, that's why we're wrestling fans in the first place, I mean, because we don't like everything that normal society likes. So we like this wrestling stuff. And so within that subculture, there's the subculture of different wrestlers, different promotions. A guy like Danhausen. Mikey, you knew this WWE, Vince McMahon entertaining himself now, not fans anymore. We just mercifully watch without any control. We have our thoughts. That's it. Well, great point. And nothing brings home that point better than AJ than me having my job interview with the WWE in December of 2007 and not getting hired. And if anyone could have saved this company creatively, it would have been me. So it's deplorable. Going back to the Danhausen thing, I feel you. He makes me laugh with him. Yeah, and that's fine. And there's room for comedy in wrestling. It's just got to be funny comedy, and comedy is subjective. So I think that it's probably a smart move. I mean, with all the people that Tony Khan's hiring, he hires a lot of people. And so if there's a cult following for Danhausen, is that worth the $100,000 he's paying him a year? I've heard that Tony Khan pays very well these wrestlers, to tell you the truth. The wrestlers love AEW. This is the group out of Jacksonville, Florida, Pam, because they get paid much better. I'm actually going to take this rolling thing off that I have. Yes, the ticker. I'm taking the ticker down, folks. No more ticker. Let's see. So what else? Any further comments? But I did want to talk about this Royal Rumble 2016. Just kind of an interesting point in time. Guess who was in this thing? Kind of sad to see him in a way, but nice to see him. Luke Harper, who has since passed away. Luke Harper was in this Royal Rumble, had a pretty good showing. What else? And just, it was a good time. It was a good time. I get all these comments all mixed up now. Well, that's a good point, buddy. I probably have had more fun in my life outside the WWE, but, part of me is always looking for accomplishment, always looking for the thing on the resume. So being a WWE writer would have been interesting, but I'll tell you this, Jim Ross was not lying when he called Connecticut an overpriced hellhole. No offense, Pam. Not the part of Connecticut you're from, obviously, but this Stamford, Connecticut, Hartford, Connecticut. My God, I was looking at places to live there in 2007, and it was just unbelievable how expensive it was. Mikey, I remember when I watched WWF back then, Brother Love was stupid. The stupidest thing you saw and best thing WWF had as a program was Saturday Night's Main Event. Now it's a thing of the past. I miss it. Yeah, Saturday Night's Main Event, you can find those Nikolai Volkov versus Hulk Hogan. I do recall the very first Saturday Night's Main Event was taped at a Nassau Coliseum in Long Island, I believe. And the first match ever was George the Animal Steel and Nikolai Volkov and the Iron Sheik versus Barry Windham, Mike Rotundo, and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. And the main event of that very first Saturday Night's Main Event was Hulk Hogan defending the WWF title against Cowboy Bob Orton. Let's see. I miss Luke Harper. He really looked one of my dear friends that passed away to a T. Sorry about that, buddy. Yeah, it's tough, man. I had a good friend of mine died about 5 years ago now. And it is tough, so I feel you on that. Luke Harper, great wrestler, passed away about a year and 3 or 4 months ago, December, I think the day after Christmas, wasn't it, of 2020? Was when Luke Harper passed away. John was his real name. John, was it Huber? And seemed to be a real great guy from all accounts. And actually the tribute show they had to him at AEW Daly's Place is the reason why I started going to Daly's Place to see AEW, was because of that show. What else can we talk about here? Other people in this 2016 Royal Rumble. You had Sheamus. You had Titus. Titus kind of came in. He was a little rough. I mean, I heard something somewhere on one of these wrestle videos that Titus has a reputation for being stiff. And he seemed to be kind of stiff. Chris Jericho was in this thing. This was the debut of AJ Styles as well. So AJ Styles comes in at number 3, and he and Roman start going after each other. Keith Lee has signed with AEW. Hope he gets the right treatment in the company because Big Show and Mark Henry has disappeared from TV. Well, Mark Henry hasn't really disappeared from TV, AJ. He's on Rampage every Friday night. Mark Henry is pretty well featured on Rampage. And I'm not sure about Big Show. Oh, man. Intense, buddy. I'm trying to... Baby mama. Okay, I was trying to figure out what BM meant. Because, I mean, it would... no offense. I thought it was going to say bowel movement. But no, baby mama being horrible to him. Well, that's tough, man. I'm sorry to hear that, buddy. You know, and it's tough, especially now for the son. And that's one thing, folks, you know, about not to go down another rabbit hole, but the suicide thing is such a horrible solution because it doesn't solve any problems. You just create problems for other people when you commit suicide. And there was a guy up in Boston about 6 years ago, maybe 7, a young guy, maybe 30 years old. He had a kid. He was not, I think he was married to the kid's mother, and then she was having an affair on him, and he discovered it, and then he committed suicide. You know what I mean? So, yeah, 6'4" is a little taller than me. That's true. So, yeah, don't commit suicide. You know, what else can you say? You know what I mean? But in any event, a lot of suicides in pro wrestling, as the wrestling fans know. And, well, that's a good point too, Pam. You know, and look, I mean, there's so many different cases. You know, each case would be a different thing, a different topic. You know, there was a situation this past summer, believe it or not, where a pro wrestling personality, a lady named Shannon or Daphne, she was pretty young. I think she was like 43 or 44. And she discovered that she had the brain degeneration from concussions. And she was so freaked out that she was going to lose her mind and maybe she had other things going on too. She probably did. That she actually was on Instagram, basically telling her Instagram followers that she was going to kill herself. And then she did. And so it was a whole big scary thing. She was on Instagram Live. She apparently had like a gun in her hand or something. And her phone was ringing off the hook because people were trying to tell her to, you know, relax, calm down. But she was convinced that she was going to have degenerative brain issues. So she committed suicide, and kind of in a like a horror movie in live time. Well, I feel for you and your friend there, buddy. I feel for you. And Mikey, if you get Disney Plus, if Star Wars fans book a Boba Fett, we see Luke Skywalker, not Mark Hamill. And someone look like him and his voice is different, kind of slap in the face and use a CGI version. You know, bro, I haven't seen the Boba Fett thing, although this guy, if you look at him, you know, that's a legit Star Wars guy. That's like a real 1970s. This is probably 1981, perhaps, this guy came out. Daphne was pretty. Daphne. Oh, yeah, Daphne. Yeah, she spelled it with the 2 F's, I thought. Yeah, Daphne was great. Shannon. Yeah, Robin Williams in the acting world. But that was another one that was tough to take. Robin, apparently, there was something I saw about that. Why did Robin Williams commit suicide? They were trying to say he was bipolar or he was depressed. Well, apparently there's a story out now that Robin was feeling a lot of pain for his last couple of years of life. And he was misdiagnosed with one condition, but he actually had something else. And there was something I saw online or somewhere about that Robin was kind of misdiagnosed. And I think he thought he was a goner or something. So he committed suicide because he didn't feel good about his future. And it turns out he was misdiagnosed the whole time. he wasn't really a wrestling fan or being overexposed to it. Below Brian, this is your buddy you're talking about. Yeah, man, I'm sorry to hear this, man. 30 years old. That's rough. That's really rough. You know, my pal was 45, I think. Mikey, why are boxing? Oh, good question. Mikey, why are boxing pay-per-views so much money? I remember people getting upset with Mike Tyson pay-per-view paying like $70. Because they know people will pay for it. And the thinking, at least, is that they're trying to encourage more butts in the seats, if that makes any sense. Like, they're thinking that some people are going to bring over 4 or 5 other people to watch these fights, and that people will split the cost. That's one thinking. But, you know, they put a lot of thought into those prices. I'm not defending the big prices, but here's a life hack, AJ. I'm not sure exactly where you live, but in my area, I'm pretty lucky. There's a lot of movie theaters in this town. And between it's usually Cinemark and or AMC have live UFC fights and live boxing fights on the big screen. So it's like the old school closed circuit deal, man. You pay your money, and it's usually $25 at Cinemark or AMC. You pay your money, and you get to see the pay-per-view event on a huge huge film screen, like a 35 millimeter film screen, and they broadcast in high def. And I've done that for years, guys. I've watched the Met Opera on the movie screen. I've watched UFC fights in Rhode Island and also here in Florida on the big screen, and I think it's fun. You know what I mean? I just think it's a cool way to do it. Now, the downside, there's always a downside. The downside is that you don't get to record the event. You know, if you watch, you know, for instance, these AEW pay-per-views, because I've seen the AEW pay-per-views on the big screen too. But if you watch the AEW pay-per-view in the comfort of your own home through Bleacher Report pay-per-view, you basically get to keep that recording in your account. But if you go to the movie theater, it's a one and done. You see it once and then it's over. I don't mean to have a dry sense of humor. Why I don't harm myself other than sauce is it takes too much work, and my cat would be a straw without my pain in the ass around. Well, there you go, buddy. And it's your birthday, and just try to enjoy your life, buddy. Try to enjoy your birthday. And, you know, the thoughts that look, it's a human thing to have that, you know, it's a wonderful life moments when you're looking at your life and you're not satisfied, or you are satisfied, and you're wondering what would life like be without me. But like you said, your cat would miss you, if nothing else. What else? Trying to think if there's anything else we can say here. I did skim through this Raw tonight, and I didn't really see much worth watching, to tell you the truth. The Lita Becky Lynch thing. Becky Lynch as a heel is so horrible. SAG Awards, if you want me to comment, I will say this, Pam. I'm not sure. You know, I did get my my tickets to see Licorice Pizza. I thought was a great movie. I used my SAG-AFTRA. Like, I actually went to the website and I printed up my SAG-AFTRA tickets, and I saw Licorice Pizza in the theater, and then I saw for the second time House of Gucci, and I did like it better the second time. This is what I think is going to be a really interesting competition, Pam, for SAG-AFTRA Awards. The Best Actress category, I got to think Jennifer Hudson as Aretha Franklin in Respect has got to be up for something. But some other female performances, who's the lady that was in the Night House? Kind of a psychological horror film. She was in Peggy, the Vicky Barcelona movie. Night House was a great film. That I think that was a great performance. What else? Julie Delpy made a movie this year called Zoe that I thought was great. And I think Julie wrote and directed or produced or something, and also starred. And I don't think a lot of people saw that movie, at least not that I know of, but that was a great female performance, and I wonder if she's been nominated. I just saw a lot of great female acting this year. News of the World, when did that come out? Was that 2020? Tom Hanks. That might have been a year old already. Yeah, you took me into another realm, but that's okay, Pam. It's all Coda I did not see, so I didn't see it. I heard about it. I didn't see it. I've seen a lot of movies. I liked Moonfall. I just did Mike's Instant Movie Reviews. Pam, if you want to see my take on all the hottest movies, I've got a whole playlist called Mike's Instant Movie Reviews. I liked Moonfall. I liked it. Other people don't seem to. I saw the discourse on race, Who We Are, Jeffrey Robinson's Who We Are, a discussion of racism in America. What do you think about Reigns versus Brock? I'm curious, but I was a huge fan. I'm finally giving a wish to see heel Reigns now. I don't know. Well, here's the thing. This will be the third Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar WrestleMania main event. I do have a feeling they're going to get that other title on Lesnar. I do have a feeling they're going to decide to do title for title at WrestleMania. It's so boring with like the unification of the two titles, and then they split them up again and back and forth. But I can see them putting both titles on Reigns for a while. I don't know. I think they always have a good match, but we've seen it before. I mean, it's not. I think what people really wanted to see, Eric and everybody, was The Rock. You know, The Rock coming out of retirement, Dwayne Johnson, talk about a movie star. People wanted to see The Rock wrestle his cousin. You know, the Rock's cousin, Pam, is the WWE Universal Champion now, Roman Reigns. Very good-looking guy. Looks like was that Jason Momoa, the actor that recently divorced from Lisa Bonet. That's another story. But that's what Roman Reigns looks like. He's a big, strong, good-looking dude. So they want to see him versus cousin, The Rock. What a blockbuster match that would be. Well, The Rock's not available. The Rock's 49 years old. The last time he wrestled was 10 years ago against John Cena. He ripped his pectoral muscle. It kind of screwed up his film acting for a little bit of time. So The Rock's not going to be wrestling anytime soon unless he really is bored and wants to do it. Mikey, WWE selling WWE 22K and hyping it up, showing PS version, not PS4. They know games are having an issue buying this console due to salvage of this chip. Well, here's the thing. I kind of left the video game world back in the PS2 days. I feel for you guys because a friend of mine plays the Madden, whatever it is, on this PS4, I think. And the game looks great. And I can see how you can get really wrapped up into video games, because I used to be really wrapped up into video games way back when. But for me, and I'm just being honest with you guys, video games are such a time sucker. You know what I mean? There's if any of you saw my Facebook post today where I took a picture of my bookcase, right? And I have all these books, but I have to actually read them. Well, I'm not going to be able to read any of these books if I'm playing video games. It's just video games are a big time-sucking thing. Yeah, I mean, the chicks love those guys. And that's why Brock Lesnar is basically the substitute for The Rock, because The Rock can't do WrestleMania. And so the go-to guy is what's his name? Brock Lesnar. I do miss WWE 2K whatever, but I loved Yuzuka Zero. See, and no offense, guys, I don't really know what to say, because I've heard this stuff about these platforms. The PS5 is hard to get to. I didn't know there's a bootleg market for it. That's pretty interesting. I do watch on YouTube, though. I'll say this. I watch a lot of these origins of video games. Like on YouTube, a friend of mine, Tim Labonte, has a good thing about old handheld LCD games. You can look up Standstill Pictures or Tim Labonte for that. Random fact, Momoa and Brock are huge heavy music fans. Well, that's cool. That kind of makes me like Brock a little bit more. But for me, why is it Brock versus Roman? Because The Rock's not available. That's the quick answer. And Vince McMahon, in his getting older age, like everyone is getting older, no one's getting younger, but Vince goes to what he's comfortable with. Mikey Veer is coming to Raw when, or is he fired? They're showing it takes up airtime. Yeah, these things of Veer is coming to Raw, but yet he never shows up. It doesn't make much sense. See, I really don't even know what this is. Yakuza O is basically a prequel that sets up the series well. And no, I just don't know what you're talking about. I mean, is that it's a video game? I guess I'm just out of it, guys. I'm going to look it up because I guess it's an important thing. But yeah, it's a video game. I'm looking it up right now. So I trust your opinion on that. I don't know what to say about it. The glitz, glamour, and unbridled decadence of the 80s are back in Yakuza 0. Fight like hell through Tokyo and Osaka with protagonist Kazuma. Okay, I trust. By the way, did you see Jeff Jarrett join GCW? I did hear about that. I heard about that on the Jeff Jarrett podcast, which is interesting. My World with Jeff Jarrett and Eric Bischoff. And I do have that video from 2 or 3 weeks ago. I just have to dig through it and watch the whole thing. Like I told you, I got to sit on my computer to watch it. It's a pain, but I will get through it, buddy. Let's see. That's a way to label you. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just don't know what to say because I don't play the games. So, but I trust you. Mikey, best wrestler is healed, and WWE dropped on the ball was Muhammad Hassan. He had heat like Iron Sheik would do with his anti-American rant. Yeah, good point. Pam, if you're still with us here, trying to translate to the non-wrestling fan, but I like that you keep an open mind. Back in the 2004, 2005 era, they had this Italian wrestler who had like darker skin tone. And because he was a little bit darker than the average, regular white complexion, I guess, or whatever you want to call it, they had him actually wrestle as a Middle Easterner named Muhammad Hassan. The guy's real name was like Tony or something. And they had him wrestle as a Middle Eastern American who was upset because he was being discriminated against in the wake of 9/11. So just once again, I mean, that 2004, 2005 doesn't seem that long ago. But they being the WWE exploited this guy. He wasn't even Middle Eastern. He was Italian American or maybe Sicilian. And he looked somewhat like a Middle Eastern. So they shoehorned him into playing Muhammad Hassan, who was a Middle Eastern American who was angry because he was getting discriminated against in the wake of 9/11. So, I mean, the WWE used to really push the envelope. They don't really do that anymore. What's your take on Shane Mack getting booted? I talked about this a few times. I still, here's my take. This is Shane McMahon, the very son of Vince McMahon, apparently did not do a very good job, was not very well behaved at the Royal Rumble, I guess 8 days ago. And apparently he was just trying to make it all about him. The Royal Rumble match, he was trying to upstage the boys, so to speak. And apparently his father was very upset, and he's been let go from the WWE, which is interesting, although I think he still owns a part of it. So basically they're like, take your money, but we don't want you around here creatively. And like I've said for years, that whole family, the McMahons, are just bizarre. I mean, with their dealings with each other. Vince's fascination with his own daughter is very suspicious. Shane got heat backstage and not good heat. Yeah. And I think it's a thing where, like Junior, Vince McMahon had daddy issues with his father figures. He was raised by the evil stepfather, and then finally ended up with his real father, Vince Sr., because his parents were divorced. And then that dysfunction basically manifested in everything we've seen in pro wrestling and WWE for 30 or 40 years now. So if you wonder why this WWE is such a weird company, it's because it's the vision of a madman. It's the vision of a broken child. Vince McMahon, the 70-year-old broken child. That's what we're watching on a weekly basis. That's what we're wrapping our lives around, folks. So as far as Shane O'Mac, basically the son inherits the father's illness. And I think Shane has for years tried to make daddy love me, jumping off of cells, getting thrown through the hell in the cell. You know what I mean? All those leaps off the cages and so forth. Too big of a creative team also. Yeah, huge problem, Eric. And oddly enough, like I said, I applied to work for the WWE creative team and had a job interview in Titan Tower. And I can tell you that they don't want wrestling fans. They want other people there. They want Hollywood hacks. It was a pleasure. Thanks for the lessons. You are such a delightful improviser, no matter the topic. Happy birthday, Eric. Oh, that's nice of you. And I'm so sorry I lost the friends. We all have to remember to be especially kind. We don't know what anyone might be going through. Good point, Pam. Good point. It's a tough world. It really is. And one thing about this worldwide situation, as I like to call it, Pam, is I've learned, I don't want to put myself down too bad, but I was kind of a complainer, like a customer service advocate for the community. Like if I had bad service somewhere, or if I got, if I didn't get the straw in my bag from McDonald's, I would be sending an email. And, I've just kind of learned to lay off a little bit and just accept that, every time I go to Starbucks, they're not going to have all the tables cleaned and ready for me. So I might have to clean the table myself. You know what I mean? Like now I bring in like antibacterial wipes with me to places because I might just be cleaning up the table by myself. Mikey, are we still in COVID? Children don't want to go to school wearing masks and parents are fighting to lift it. In some states, they won. Do you feel it's a mistake? Because I think parents have no clue of danger of COVID and kids get. Oh boy, good questions here, buddy. Basically, Michael's. What do I think about the whole pandemic and I guess here's kind of a brutal thing. And Eric says, thanks for the birthday wishes from Pam and myself. Good job, Eric. Hey, you survived another year, buddy. I have a lot of mixed feelings about it. For me, it's been like almost like a game, like a high stakes game, but a game nonetheless of like, how much fun can I have without getting COVID? Now I've gotten both vaccination shots and I got a booster shot. And I've been very quick to get every type of shot because I really don't want to get this thing, because you talk about pre-existing health issues or whatever. I have things that, I'm not perfectly great shape or anything. So I don't think I would do very well if I were to get COVID. So I've been trying to avoid it. Recently, I was supposed to take a trip to Austin, Texas. Basically this week, I was going to start driving, but I decided not to just because their virus rates are way up. So, it has affected my life. But I think I've been lucky being here in Florida. The movies have been open for quite some time. Daly's Place with the AEW. I went to see a Counting Crows concert. I've gone to Disney World a bunch of times. Go to Disney World, you wear the mask outside. You wear the masks when you're inside and you take them off when you're outside is the deal at Disney. And even when I was going to Disney, when you had to wear the mask on the outside, there was plenty of times when you could get a breath of fresh air without the mask. So the point is, I find it a challenge to not get this damn thing. Now, how do I feel about the kids? Okay, I'm here's the thing that's rough to say. I'm glad I don't have any kids, to be honest with you, because in this day and age, with the Capitol riots of the riots of the Capitol and all these god awful things, the food that we eat, the water that we drink, everything is so screwed up. Social media. I mean, can you imagine if I had a daughter right now in this day and age and all you creeps out there trying to date her? I would be very upset all the time. So I can't, I'm glad I just don't have kids, AJ. So the parent, as far as the parents and the kids, the masks, I feel bad for the kids that have to wear the mask in school. And I keep thinking that at some point, 4 or 5 years from now, or whenever, there's going to be all these studies that say that mask wearing is bad for you. Oh, we didn't tell you that all these respiratory illnesses. Now, I guess I don't want to get Joe Rogan here, but I just feel that I feel like there's a downside to wearing these masks that we haven't really explored yet. And if it's not just a physical thing, it's a psychological thing. I could be wrong. Yeah, well, it's good that you wear it, buddy. And here's my thing. I have about 300 masks in my car. Luckily for me, in Florida, there's a place called Buc-ee's where you can get 50 masks for like $2. It's the cheapest mask around. But they're good masks. They're like the 3-layer masks, right? So I have like a lot of masks. And my thing that I try to do, Eric, I don't always do it, is when I go to a public restroom, I either do this. I put my nose in my shirt, right? So I'm going to the men's room like this as long as I can hold it. And the other thing I do is, if I'm smart, I wear my mask into the public restroom. And I tip that's the smart thing to do. And I don't do it all the time. I just saw the lady from Georgia, the political lady, Stacey. Is it Stacey Abrams? She was just given a hard time because she had a picture of herself without a mask on with a bunch of kids. And they're saying, well, she's the big, mask advocate. She's the one that says you got to wear the mask all the time. Well, obviously, if she was speaking to the kids and if they wanted to take a picture with her as the special guest, they probably wanted the picture without the mask so they could see her. That doesn't mean she was going around breathing on all these kids. So I just think this whole gotcha culture, canceled culture, I mentioned the Joe Rogan thing. We could talk another hour about Joe, but I just think it's it's gone so far, because if you want to give someone a break, you'll give them a break. If you want to crucify someone, you'll crucify them. It's I did a video 3 or 4 years ago. It's convenient morality. If it's someone that you like that screwed up, you will forgive. If it's someone you don't like that screwed up, you won't forgive. Oh boy, Mike, porn has been around for years, but internet has exploded. Too much make free. But if you are a sick perv, you can search your mind out, find whatever this terrible wish it all. And don't we do it? Why there are awards with these films that fans on? That's a good question. So you're talking about like the AVN, Adult Video Network Awards, Adult Video Film Awards, AFN, is that what it is? I'm not, how am I going to say this? There are some people I know that are like, they look at porn stars as like baseball players, like they compare their statistics or their bodies at work. I think that's a tough way to make a living. I get it. Like if you do anything enough or well enough or often enough, it becomes rote, it becomes old hat. I think kind of like, just even good old fashioned strippers, they get desensitized to men or to sex because they just have all this guys giving them money for lap dances all the time. So as far as the porn stars go, that's to another level. I mean, you're getting paid basically. I mean, it's kind of a form of prostitution in a sense. It's basically prostitution with the camera. And I don't know. It's just, you feel for the people that are doing but maybe they enjoy it. That's the one thing you have to remember, is that we all want to think that people should think like us. But the reality is there's all types of different people in the world. People might be looking at pro wrestling fans thinking we're insane and how could you guys watch that stuff? But for the people that are into pornography, it's kind of like saying, what type of water do you drink? Because there's so many options. I mean, you could say that something like Showgirls or something like Striptease with Demi Moore, that could be somebody's jolly stuff. You know what I mean? But other people are into way deeper stuff than that. Yeah. Well, Reddit. Yeah, there you go. Reddit's got there's a Mike Messier Reddit page. I don't know if you guys knew that, but you can go to the Mike Messier Reddit page and push some up arrows. But I'm on Reddit. I'll tell you one group that sucks on Reddit is the AEW group. the supposed AEW official group. They're a pain in the ass on Reddit that I've put my stuff up there, and they're a bunch of soy boy sensitive types, Kenny Omega fans. I called Kenny Omega a vanilla midget, and I got suspended for a week on the AEW Reddit page because they're so soft. What can you do? But if you look up Mike Messier, you'll find, actually, if you really want to have a good laugh, put your search engine on for the Mike Messier and Chris Hero or Cassius Ono Reddit thread. There's actually a Reddit thread between me and Cassius Ono when I took issue with the thumb in the ass spot, and people like quote tweeted me and Cassius Ono, and people were looking into my life. So if you dig that up, the Cassius Ono or Chris Hero, Mike Messier Reddit thread, it's somewhere still online. It's classic. Well, gentlemen, I think we're down to just me, Eric, and I think Pam has gone away for the night, but I think Eric and my buddy AJ are still here. So I think I addressed all the questions. As far as, I don't know if I totally answered the COVID thing, but I mean, I don't know. It just sucks. So that's it, folks. It's been a fun, spontaneous hour and 5 minutes. We got another Mikey next month, the Batman, Robert Pattinson. I love Batman. I think it will be good, but Robert Pattinson, he'll be a vampire. Well, you know what? The Twilight movies were kind of fun. And I think Robert Pattinson's a good actor. The preview looks really good. I'm willing to give it a chance. You know, I think the thing with the Batman movies, to be honest, guys, is I feel like there's just been too many. Kind of like Spider-Man, to be honest with you. But when I saw the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse thing with the 3 different Spider-Man, I got a kick out of it. Like, to see that was fun, you know? So I don't think we need to see that in every movie. I think that's like a one-time only deal. You know, you can't have all the different Batmans come together. And, you know, it's too bad for Superman because we can't get Christopher Reeves back. But I just, I think there's been like one too many fucking Batman, one too many Jokers, you know, we need some new shit, you know, Distance from Avalon, my book. You know, you guys have ordered my book yet, for Christ's sake. I mean, that's more entertaining than these fucking Batman movies. So anyway, gentlemen, Eric, AJ, Pam, thanks for checking in. Everyone had a good time. Feel free to share this video for those that have watched the replay. Thanks for watching the replay. And always check your YouTube buttons. Make sure that you got the alarms hit and so on and so forth. Got another new comment. Happy birthday to Eric once again. Batman vs. Superman was unique on paper, but too long. Yeah. Mikey, if you get Netflix, buddy. February 18th, new Texas Chainsaw movie. Love your reviews on it. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. I don't have Netflix right now. I could get it again. There's some, I kind of come and go with Netflix. Right now, I don't have it, but it's not to say that I won't get it again, or I won't have access, I should say. Okay, gentlemen, good to see you. Good night. Doing that Chad Gable thing with the 5. Okay, goodbye. Subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel.